Coming at you from the bulletproof bunker just outside Celestia's castle as live as possible in a recorded format, it's Equestria Redacted with Ephrom, Josine, the weekly series where we look at the news that the mainstream community doesn't really seem to want you to know about. First off, a new episode was released, that being Surf and Turf, which stars the CMC. Now look, I haven't really made this clear yet, but I don't care for the CMC very much. I feel they're just really a distraction from the main six. And I guess it's fine if they have 1 or 2 episodes a season, but I'm not going to be rewatching them anytime soon. The map calls the CMC, which... wait, so we can just call any pony now? Can you just be like a random pony and all of a sudden your cutie mark starts glowing? Imagine if you didn't know what the map was and that happened. You'd have to go to like a medical doctor. Doctor, my cutie mark was randomly glowing. Oh, why you're being summoned. By what? By the map. What's the map? Look, just go to that castle over there. Now, if you were someone like me, you'd immediately run, assuming they were actually going to kidnap you because they were FBI members about to do experiments on you. But, you know, I'm just kind of weird like that. Hey, you laugh, but that's happened. You see, the CMC are called by the map to go to Mount Eris, home of the hippoglyphs. It turns out, after the Storm King was defeated, some of the hippoglyphs actually moved back to Mount Eris. However, others remain in the ocean. Because, of course they do. And the ocean, on a side note, is called Equestria. Because of course it is. Just of course it is. Just, what else would they call it? I'm done. I'm done. We'll never hear a better name than Equestria. The specific hippogriff they follow is named Terminar, who feels conflicted about whether to spend his time in Mount Eris or in Equestria. Again, that's what they call it. Because of course. And the CMC must help him figure out which way to go. Of course, Sweetie Bloom prefers Mount Eris, Scootaloo prefers Equestria. They get into a fight over blah blah blah. You know what's gonna happen. Honestly, I felt this episode was just annoying. The CMC in general always annoy me most of the time. I get it, they're supposed to represent like the 6-year-olds who are probably the actual target audience of the show. However, as someone who is not a 6-year-old, I find them annoying. Like 6-year-olds. They know what they did. I mean, I liked it more than Granny's Gone Wild. Seriously, what is it with the staff and bad names recently? Because this one wasn't particularly annoying to finish. I could still finish it just fine. But I mainly just stared at my computer screen, or... I'm sorry, I did not pirate this, because I'm a good boy. On my TV screen, that's what I meant to say. I promise. We here from Josine do not pirate. Just looking bored and wanting it to end, and it just didn't for way too long. I think we're going to get to the news now that the episode review is done, and let's start off with some recommendations from Ephrom. First off, a friend of the show, Leo Convoy's Review, made a video called The Brony Analysis Community, Get Your House in Order. I'd highly recommend watching it. It goes over how the community is essentially refusing to change right now, and I'm not just saying that because at one point it mentions me in a positive light. Although I will say, it's been a long time since I used that OC. I should use it again sometime. Did I ever use it in the first place? Now, before we get to our next plug, it turns out this was posted on Twitter while I was recording the video, by the way. You remember that paranoid Golden Fox fan who warned him about me? You know, Aldo Carell, who I also got accused of being racist for because I criticized his English. Still trying to figure that out. Well, he commented on Thomas's video with, "Can I touch that?" Babis, no clue what that even means. And by the way, Aldo, no, you cannot. You cannot touch video, but video can touch you. And my personal favorite, by the way, I wrote millions of pedophilic fanfics. Bring it on! So you heard it here first, folks. Aldo Kirul, quote, wrote millions of pedophilic fanfics and wants you to, quote, bring it on. Go fulfill his wishes, please. Going back to the shoutouts, I'd also recommend my audience follow Mintheart or at Minty Empress on Twitter. She's one of Beta's friends. She's very open and upfront in the community. She's very bold in that regard. She's willing to call pretty much anyone in the analysis community or even other parts of the community out. And I really enjoy reading her tweets. And I am not just saying that so a woman will notice me, okay? Entirely. I'm not entirely saying it because of that. But it seems like for the news of the present, we have to go back in the past a little. If you did not know, in last week's episode, there was a blue pony named Jackpot who did magic that many compared to Trixie. I did not notice that comparison, mind you, because I was more focused on the fact that, you know, the episode just wasn't very good. It seems like, during the past week, it was confirmed that Jackpot is Trixie's father. The first hint of this was in the Ultimate Guidebook of MLP that apparently exists, which has a section, "Did you know Trixie's father, Jackpot, was a famous stage magician? His most impressive trick was the splash-tastic escape performed with his friend Big Bucks. It's no surprise that Trixie loves magic shows too." Now, of course, like in the real world, there's only one duo of magicians in the world that's ever done any trick involving water. So therefore, it had to be him, is what I would normally say. But then, because of course he had to, one of the main storyboard artists, and some could even call one of the biggest influences on the show, Jim Miller, aka at the Biggest Jim, said this on Twitter when somebody posted an image of the episode that involved Jackpot. The question is, does he know he's Trixie's father? Amazing. Really. However, a few days later, Jim Miller tweeted this out. With regards to the past weekend's episode in Jackpot, yes, we were implying that he is indeed Trixie's dad. It's not explicitly stated, and Hasbro may decide to change their minds down the line somewhere, but though it was a fun nod to her parentage and made, and then Jim forgot to click reply when he sent out his next tweet, so it's just two separate tweets in no way threaded together. Jim, you may want to work on your tweeting skills. Since that he was possibly a washed-up Bay-style stage magician with a penchant for older ladies. Whether or not he's aware he has a daughter is up for debate. I like that, how he might not even know he has a daughter. Amazing. Or my alternative theory, he does know he has one somewhere, he just isn't quite sure who it is. That's deep right there. Josh Haber, one of the show's writers, replied to that tweet with, Up for debates? Oh no, good sir. We need answers. Give us concrete facts about this world of talking horses. Josh, you aren't funny. I just want you to know that. You know, you don't look like the cool writer when you do that. You just kind of look like a dick. Also, you're not even verified on Twitter and have like 4K followers, even though you run a show with one of the biggest and most dedicated fandoms in the US. How does that feel, Josh? Just wondering. I then made the mistake of reading comments on EQD articles, and that led to some of this gold. Bonk says, it'd be pretty on track for what other families this show has made. AJ's parents are dead. A little nitpick, but they only implied that. They never said it directly. Pinky's family is sort of against emotions, at least in contrast to her. I'm pretty sure Rarity's parents died after we saw them that one time at the start of the show. Hold on, that's a pretty big assumption. I will give you in the show, Rarity's parents are that involved in her life, but neither are any of the main sixes. For the love of God, we didn't even see Twilight's parents until last season. Were they just dead until a season ago? That would be an amazing plot for an episode, though, if Twilight learned a zombie spell. My Little Pony family is resurrected. That was clever. Dreadmaster231 left a pretty good fan fiction in the comments, if I do say so myself. Jackpot didn't know he had a daughter. Again, my theory on that is better. It was a product of a fling with a mare at one of his shows. He left some money for compensation in a picture. Weird thing to leave. Here's a picture of the guy you just had a one-night stand with. Trixie grew up knowing about him, but felt he left because she wasn't good enough, leading her to have self-esteem issues. Coping, she grew her ego to hide her pain/shame of not knowing her dad. She, however, did decide to take up magic as an attempt to close the gap and maybe get him to notice her. My personal theory is Trixie asked her mother who her father was, and then her mother pointed at the TV when Jackpot was doing a show or something and said him. That's the only How I Met Your Mother reference I'll ever make, I promise. Wait, I don't make promises. That may not be the only How I Met Your Mother reference I'll ever make. I like this one, though. Her mom probably never tried to file for support or take any legal action, because who cared about a mare on her own in Equestria's equivalent of Sin City? No comment. This guy's name is an acronym. It's Pandemonium. No clue what that stands for, by the way, and I really don't want to know. Says this. I'm pretty sure he is a terrible father. Didn't Trixie run away from her hometown? When was that established? I mean, she's a traveling performer, but that doesn't mean she ran away. Also, I heard that he doesn't even know that Trixie is his daughter, and he left her mom and doesn't even know Trixie. Worse that. I like how dismissive this guy is immediately. I'm not gonna say for sure this guy has daddy issues, but I'm pretty sure he does immediately. That is with my genius psychological skills. I am a master at psychologically. Holy crap, Dr. Forrester's in the EQD comments. Hello, Dr. Forrester. Aren't you dead? Anyway, Dr. Forrester had this to say. Trixie's mom. I'm pregnant. Jackpot. Smoke bomb. He says smoke bomb, but there are quotations, not asterisks around it. So he just said smoke bomb. And then they awkwardly stare at each other for about 20 minutes before Jackpot just ran away. Our last comment comes from Prince Brony. Trixie. Dad, this is my friend, Starlight Glimmer. But wait, I thought they didn't know each other. You're not being consistent with the deep My Little Pony continuity, Prince Brony. Jackpot. Nice to meet you. I don't know why I'm making Jackpot sound like this, by the way. Now, that was an innocent enough comment, but then Mike Lemon had this to say. Get Starlight pregnant. As you do. There's no real... I think that mental image is enough to leave it off, so we'll move on to our next thing. Now, unfortunately, over this last week, the MLP fandom suffered a serious loss. No, not Flufflepuff. Oh, where would you get the idea I was talking about Flufflepuff? That nobody. No, I mean the very important Forgotten Dreams. I'll miss you dearly, Forgotten Dreams. I loved your work, Forgotten Dreams. Wait, who the heck is Forgotten Dreams? Is he like Wallflower Blush, who did nothing wrong, by the way? Where you just keep forgetting him because he erased you from his memory? But anyway, Forgotten Dreams had to leave the fandom. Not because the fandom was toxic, but because the fandom is dead, which is bad news for me because I do a weekly series, which kinda can't happen when the fandom dies. So, sorry guys, but either Forgotten Dreams doesn't know what he's talking about and he's a complete idiot ideologue, or I may have to go soon too. It's definitely the first one, and Forgotten Dreams is just a complete idiotic ideologue. On a side note, can I just say this video was done in the most manipulative way humanly possible? This, may I also just say, hour-long, yes, hour-long video is him talking in this very quiet voice, mind you, over some of the saddest music ever written. I don't know about you, but I cried every time when I watched it. Now, in this video, Forgotten Dreams tells the story of how he was just treated the worst by Sparrow9642. Not Sparrow9642. Anyone but Sparrow. Who the heck? Okay, we're not doing the joke again. And then goes on to say, by the way, that he used a GoFundMe to get a device when he was against that, or he didn't resend the money or something, I don't know. It was lost in a lot of essentially just whining. That's what the video came down to. It was more or less just him trying to cry. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Jon Stewart bit. You know, the one he did on Glenn Beck back, I think it was 2012. It just... And as I look around at all the truly random things I've said, I'm sorry, it's just... I promised myself I would cry. Ow, ow, that doesn't actually work. Ow, that hurts. I am in fact officially dubbing these kind of videos I promised myself I would cry videos, where someone just really wants to cry during it. I figured I'd also give some information about this man. Here's one from Scribbler Productions. So you took innocent lines I recorded for you at your request as a favor for which I was not paid and framed them into something smutty to What? Degrade my reputation? What is this fake audio revenge porn? Well, I hope not, because that's kind of illegal in a good amount of states. But lastly, Forgotten Dreams just doesn't like the fact that the brony community was so mean to his friend. Who is his friend, by the way? Dusky Novel, the pedophile we covered a few weeks ago. So to review, Forgotten Dreams is a manipulative, almost revenge porn creating friend of a pedophile. Forgotten, there's no nice way to put this. Stay gone. I would like to end by saying I was not the first one to respond to Forgotten Dreams. That was Anthony Aguilar, aka For No Good Reason. In it, he mentions someone by the name of Kichi, who has far less of an audience than him and has not made anything in a couple of months. He directly says that if Kichi were to ask for something in the fandom, it would happen. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Aguilar, but isn't that called a conspiracy? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called when well-connected individuals collude with each other. Now, I could be wrong on this, but, you know, that's what it kind of sounds like. But ignore this section and go back to saying how I'm crazy or something. I don't know. I'm Ephrom, and see you next week. And remember, when a whole bunch of people, when the people in power are lying, the truth itself becomes a conspiracy. Always remember to question more and stay vigilant. And don't notice that I stole that saying from Jesse Ventura. Good night.